You're listening to Overflow from Riverside Church.
Yo, what's going on?
What's
Welcome
up?
to the Overflow podcast. Adam,
Let's go.
we have a very special guest today.
We do, man. First time guest. Long time editor.
Yeah, long time editor.
The one that makes all this podcast work.
Nate Dogg!
Nate Dogg in the building.
He's
The
like
behind the scenes.
Not Nate Dogg, but his name is Nathaniel
Yes,
Johnston, and we are very excited to have him as part of our podcast today. There's a reason that we have him for the podcast today. We're not going to really dive in a whole lot to the message, but maybe the reasoning behind the message today is what we're going to go into. Which was a logo, or what I would like to call a mark, rebrand because of several reasons here at our Riverside Church family. And the man behind all of it, also the man behind our social media videos, vlogging, posts, you name it, pictures, everything.
There's a lot that starts to add up there.
There's a lot starting to add up there, is Nathaniel. And he's done a fantastic job. So when you see stuff in our new auditorium at our main campus, and then even a lot of the marketing stuff at Central Park and Riverside Espanol and Indonesia and all that kind of stuff, it is because of the brain of one Nathaniel Johnson.
Come on,
Nathaniel,
that's scary.
tell them just a couple of, give us when you joined our Riverside Church family, and then tell them one thing they don't know about you, which is probably easy to choose from.
That's pretty good.
But one thing they don't know about you that you would be like, hey, this is one thing I like to. I've got something I'm going to say, but you can go first.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, right?
You go first,
I know.
though.
So how long have you been with our family, and tell them one interesting thing about you?
So I've been working here since August and a part of Riverside since then. So what is that, 7 months?
Something like that.
months,
Like
yeah,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Do math on the spot here.
Yeah, there we go.
Interesting thing about me, I have no idea. I don't know. I love to go to the mountains and take pictures, and kind of works with I love photography and that.
Got to go to the Super Bowl one time.
I did. That's
Wild.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, man.
CCU grad.
Yes.
Come
Yep.
on.
Do you
Go. What's the mascot?
CCU Cougar.
Go
Yeah.
Cougars, baby.
Do you,
Cougar find a way.
Any chance you like Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Okay.
I worked there for a
Worked
while.
there as well. Did some stuff.
Let's
Love
go.
them.
What about swing dancing?
Yeah. Okay,
Ah,
I guess
there
there's
we
random
go.
things.
Come on.
I do go horseback riding. Yeah, I do.
Yo, I didn't know that.
Yo, that came up at a staff meeting. Yeah,
That's
swing
awesome.
dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Come
swing
on,
dancing.
man.
There
I'm
it
not
is.
good, but
Hey,
I'm learning.
Swing
That's
dance.
the
He's
beauty of
learning
the
to
dance.
swing dance, right?
That's awesome.
Okay, so this weekend we unveiled a new mark, and I use the word mark specifically because a logo is I mean, essentially it's a logo, but I like the idea behind a mark or a marker better than a logo, because a logo just identifies something. But the way I've been phrasing it is that a mark represents something, right? So you have a birthmark that represents, you, everybody knows, oh, they have a birthmark on this. If you're, wanted by the police and they're trying to tell people, something about you, they're going, hey, you can identify them because they have a birthmark in this area, whatever it may be. But a mark represents something. And so when we went through this rebrand, we really talked about hey, what is it that we could represent here, not just identify with our church, something that could be long-standing. Man, how long did this process take, Nathaniel?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
It was a while.
A while. How many different, I don't think you can actually answer this, but how many different iterations of actual things did you put on paper or on your software to go through in order to get to what we landed on?
I have no idea. Probably what you saw on software, which is insane, is equal on paper as well.
I think, if you get a small chance to edit this, you ought to throw in for those that are watching, you need to throw in just a view of your brain. It was
awesome.
Josh, our pastor of operations and ministry of support, Josh Cook, he
friend of the pod.
Very, very, very decent friend of the pod. Yeah, very regular friend of the pod.
Very much so.
He made the reference that it was a cry for help every time he showed us the Adobe Illustrator file, that we would be zoomed in on one singular mark or logo, and then you would be like, oh, what about this one? And so you'd have to zoom out, and we were all like, oh my gosh. And
it's like a view of Albert Einstein's
thousands,
desk.
dude,
Yeah.
thousands.
Ever seen those
crazy.
things where you zoom in and you can keep going to this person, zoom in and it keeps going. It's like that.
Yeah, 100%. Or the pictures, the small pictures that make the really big picture. I feel like it's there it is. And anyway, so came to it, did a great job. Our team really did a good job. This was a team effort. Obviously, Nathaniel, you were behind the creation of it, but the team really put a whole lot of, hey, we like this and we like that. We went through stained glass options and all these other types of things. But ultimately, what did we land on, Adam?
Well, we landed on a strong tower, if you will.
Oh, hey,
yeah,
if you
with
will.
a river flowing through it. And it's
tower,
super clean.
Yeah, a tower and a
Super
river.
clean.
And so part of that, I'll just speak to it, and then I'm going to ask you in just a second, Nathaniel, like why does a logo or a mark like that even matter for churches? Like, who cares? Like, just preach the Bible and who cares? And everybody shows up, which I'm sure you would love people to say, considering your job. And but thinking about those things, even marketing and websites and stuff, you can even dive into that. So in just a minute I'll do it. But so we ended up going with the tower kind of marker there, if you will, and at the bottom of it is a river flowing through it. And some of that is because there's always been an element of like this tower at Riverside. Riverside, even down on South Platte Drive, there was a tower there. There's been one here since 1978. It's pretty identifiable. And honestly, as we were going through a bunch of different options, that was not one of the options. But all along the building here at our downtown location, that tower kind of mark is everywhere. It's on our windows and everything else. Now, now that you are heard that this weekend and walking in, seeing all of the windows, you're going to notice the marks now everywhere, all over the place. All of our stained glass windows on the backside are in that same mark of the tower, if you will. And it's there. That's a definitely a prevalent thing here. But as I started kind of thinking through and walking through what we could do, we also talked about the reality like that the Lord is a strong tower that we can run to in our time of help. He's a refuge, a strong tower that we see in Proverbs 18:10. And so it's like, it shouldn't just be this iconic thing that's been here for a long time, since 1978, but I would love the city to see that tower as a place of refuge. Hey, when I need help, yes, I can turn to the Lord, but if I don't know the Lord, man, I know that church cares about this city, loves this city, and wants to see this city thrive in a way that, like, I want that mark to be there for a while. Now, I don't know what that means 20 years from now, but it would be nice that if we could be represented as a mark for the city, that we're a safe place for them to run to, and that we're a place of help that was there. Then at the bottom of it is a little squiggly line, which actually represents a river. Obviously we're Riverside, but there's more than that. Psalm 46 talks about how the river being a place, as it goes out into the city, a place that makes glad the Lord, right, in those areas. And so the reality is that if we are just a stockpile of water, which is called a reservoir, we're going to get nasty, smelly, and we stink because we're only cared about ourselves. And that's what a reservoir does. If there's not movement in a reservoir, it stinks. And so the river piece is also to identify that, like, not just the river side, which Adam, you can talk about in a minute, as we always talk about with Acts 16 and Philippi. But it represents the fact that, like, if we are in this place as a strong tower, we're not supposed to just be here in this building. We're supposed to be out moving in the city. Essentially, the title of the message this weekend was Where God Meets the City. He meets the city as we place our hope and faith in Him as our strong tower, and then we realize that we're supposed to go out as we align with His, as we abide in Him in that way, as we align with the mission that He's had for us, and then we amplify His message. We are a river that is a current through the city, helping those people that are in need. Like, we're the hands and feet of Jesus, which means that we're not just standing around twiddling our thumbs, but if we're the hands and feet of Jesus, we're out moving just like a river moves. And it's iconic to our city. We have Platte River that runs, right? I can look at the bridge that goes over Platte River right there. And, I could hit a driver from my office over to the Platte River. Maybe not right now, but it might take maybe two drivers and one-handed, I don't know. And, that river runs beside, so it's iconic in our city as well too. So Adam, talk a little bit about the river side, and then Nathaniel, I'd love for you to answer, like, man, what makes this important? Who cares? Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and inevitably it's like, okay, well, Riverside, what does that mean? Are you next to a river? Does this mean that all of our locations in our church family have to plant next to a river? No, not necessarily, right? But when you look at even Acts 16 and Paul and his missionary journeys in church planting, which we are a movement of churches that are planting churches. We've got a fourth one that we're launching here in the fall, right? As we go to plant churches, you look at what Paul does. He goes to the life source of any city, and we see it in Acts 16 with Lydia and going to the river where the side of the river, if you will, where the kind of life of the city was, meeting people, engaging with the community, then making disciples, then going to start a church. And so we want to be going to the places in our city where the rivers are, if you will, whether that's finding ourselves in the coffee shops that we go to, the gyms that we go to, the places we work at, the neighborhoods that we live in. All of these areas are opportunities for us to engage with the community, to make disciples, then to start churches. And we challenged and told our people this week, man, this reminds us, this logo reminds us, this mark reminds us that we're part of a bigger movement in this. And man, we're part of a legacy of really, really faithful men and women who have been the church, who have been a part of Riverside for years and years and years. We're standing on their shoulders. And so, I think legacy has just been a big thing that we've talked about a lot. Obviously, like, what does it mean to have an impact, a legacy? We talked about it the last couple of weeks with Dr. Steve Gaines, and just the legacy that he provided and had, and we want to continue the legacy on. And so for us and for other churches, as we help plant in our city, whether they're Riverside or not, we want to have a lasting legacy and impact. And so we are standing on the shoulders of so many people. And so we want to be that for years to come. And so I think this mark kind of hits all of those things, man. It hits what God's done in the past. It hits what God is taking us into the future. And then it also reminds us of, where are we going to the river? Where are we flowing into the city? Like Psalm 46:4 says, there is a river, its streams delight in the city of God, the holy dwelling place of the Most High. Man, I hope and pray. We say this all the time too. And I stole this from you. I heard you say it forever ago. But like, we hope and pray that our city, that our community, whether it's Central Park or Jefferson Park or Green Valley Ranch or wherever we're at, looks to our church and says, you know what, that's a place that's for me. That's a place that I can feel safety and security when I go into there. More than anything, I hope they say that's a place where I can encounter Jesus. But like, that is the point of going to the river.
A phrase we always talk about, is who's your one? Who's the person closest to you but furthest from God? You're going to meet them at your third space, which would be like the Riverside.
Totally.
So you're going to go there, where Lydia's going to a prayer group. I mean, Paul had to go to the Riverside to meet the women's prayer study that was going on, Bible study that was going on, because there were not enough men in the city to have a synagogue. You had to have 12 Jewish men to have a synagogue in the city. And so there's not enough there to do it. So he had to go to the river. And it is. I mean, the schools are Riversides. Gyms are Riversides. The coffee shops are Riversides, and we will meet our ones at our Riversides. And if we stop going to the Riverside, we'll stop reaching the ones.
That's right.
Because we'll just be a group of people twiddling our thumbs and not moving about the city. So who cares about branding and all of that kind of stuff, Nathaniel? I mean, like, your job, just essentially, who cares? No. What makes all this important? Like, from your standpoint, like, what makes all this important for a church to have a marker, a website, social media, any of those types of things? Like, from your experience, what would you, maybe someone's listening that's getting ready to plant a church, and, you could tell them, here are the things, this is why this is an important deal. Just don't let your uncle's cousin's best friend put a website together for you in social media while doing this. Why does this make a difference? Why is this important?
I don't know. Like, first, I think, like, you say don't judge a book by its cover, but like, people do, even if it's subconscious. And like,
totally.
So the first impression,
that's really good,
of that matters. I also think that you can, like, we do things with excellence, and that's like a value that like, just we as Christians have. So
or should have.
And so I think you do things in the little, like the Bible says, when you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. So like, if you are faithful in the logo and the branding and the first impressions and that kind of thing, then you'll probably do the other stuff. Or it portrays that you'll do the other stuff more excellently.
That's really good.
I don't know if that was fully coherent.
No, I mean, like, it's, have you seen, just in your experience, have you seen churches that probably don't? Obviously, we're not naming them, but have you seen churches that probably, you can tell that they don't put an effort there?
So and it's interesting because, like, you can, like, they put an effort everywhere else, but they don't put an effort there. But it looks, from first impressions and from people just driving by or seeing something on social media, that it's like, why would I go there?
And if I put all the effort into Sunday morning and our people are not invitational, or, I mean, the reality is, Nathaniel, would you say that most people are checking out our website or social media before they check out the church?
I need to look at the stats on that. Definitely website. Definitely. Yeah, both of those before they go to the church.
Yeah.
And even I think social media more than the website.
Social media is the river.
I don't know know the stats, but I have heard that people are going to social media before. It's the new Google.
It is.
Like for a church. It's instead of Googling your church, I'm going to Google your social media.
Dude, 100%.
And go to it.
A lot of the times I've heard the website is just a vehicle to find your Instagram.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And so if they're doing that, because here's the reality. I think some pastors will go, oh, well, just preach the word, love Jesus, get them here. If you just invite them in, they'll come. Well, the reality is if I make an invitation at my Riverside, whether it's the school or the coffee shop or the gym, the first thing that person is doing is not just coming on a Sunday morning, because maybe I invite them on a Tuesday. Well, what are they going to do on a Tuesday? They're going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's say they go to social media first, or let's say they go to the website to find our Instagram. And then they may also go where? Our YouTube or somewhere else. They're going to listen to something. Yeah. Maybe it's like clips. I only want a brief snippet of what this is going to look like,
Yeah.
And so if we don't do those things with excellence, my fear is that a lot of people are like just going to go, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
So even if that invitation goes out and we don't do things with excellence like you talked about, it could fall flat even if our people are invitational, right? Yep. So then, because I do think most guys would be like, yeah, we'll just, have an excellent service. So what's more important, having an excellent website or an excellent service first?
Yo. Chicken or the egg.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
it's a hard question.
Yeah.
I don't think
say
it's
service
right.
still is, I mean, that's the most important thing of what we do.
And if you don't do a good job with that, then you don't have good content to put out.
Yeah, exactly.
And they should feel the same. Like your social media
that's really good.
and stuff should be an outflowing of what
that's so
is
good.
here. Like you should look at our Instagram and feel like you've been here so that you come and it feels the same.
That's really good, man.
That's great. That's why you're on the podcast. And
that's right. Come on.
Okay, so basically, what you're talking about is excellence, doing things with excellence. And honestly, can I? This is hard in your area. I think this is the area where Christians have like faded off the most. We'll just leave that to culture, And it's like, no, we should be the most excellent in the arts area. Like I'm talking about arts, we should be more excellent than the world in that. Yeah. But it's like we give that to the world, and it's like we'll be excellent over here and not over here. It's like, no, actually, because I hate the whole secular sacred divide. It should not be a sacred or secular divide. We should do all things that honor and glorify God, and we should do them as excellent, if not more excellent than the world does, because we are doing it for a King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So then everything I put forward should be the best effort. Yeah. And again, you're not always going to win in those areas, but my effort can be there. And I just feel like in this area, most Christians or a lot of churches don't even put the effort in, right? I mean, would you agree? You're in this more than I am. Would you agree? Is that a true statement, or am I just making it up?
I think it is to an extent, and I think some have gotten better, like more recently in that. Yeah. But I don't know. I had a professor who said that like many in college, many of the major like revivals and things in church history started with art from the church.
Oh, really?
So
wow, let's go.
Then we've given a lot of that, like you said, away to just culture to dictate, and the church has just kind of, I don't know, maybe not had as prominent a place.
That's crazy.
As it has in years past.
And
so go ahead.
People gravitate towards stories and art. Like that's who we are, as people. Yeah. And man, employers ought to be lining up left and right to hire Christians.
Yeah,
in an ideal, because we should be the most.
They should go there first.
Yeah. We should be the most trustworthy. All those kind of things. So
okay, two things for you more than anything. What inspired you with this one? Because I mean, I know we all talked about it, but you had to put pen to paper or arrow to software or whatever, mouse click to software. What inspired you? And like even just walk through like the process of designing or choosing a logo.
Yeah.
Marker.
I don't know. I start drawing. So like I've drawn a million different things, and then like kind of what can I translate well into Illustrator, or into like a digital kind of format. So I don't know. We started with one that I didn't love, but y'all did. And then just
when he
we were ready to rock.
We were ready to rock on one that like Nathaniel hated.
Yeah.
And everyone else really loved until we got to this one, which everybody loved. Yeah. There's one person that was a little. He was kind of like, I don't know, but then everybody else was in. So okay, so you didn't like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. Just keep trying. I don't know. Keep trying things, and that's really all I do.
Okay.
What was the other part of that question?
Well, like what is like the process? Like what is then, okay, once you land on that, then what's the process afterwards? Like how do you get to that point? Because it's not just, and even talk through like, maybe even give a peek under the hood of like, oh, it's not just a logo and you put it on a shirt, but it's website, social media, it's branding, it's all that kind of stuff. What are those things that people even need to consider?
I mean, part of it is creating like the environment and feeling like matching, like what we said, matching worship experience with everything else. So like the logo can be used poorly in something that doesn't look like us if it's not with the right colors and font and that kind of thing. So just like creating a cohesive look that like feels the same on Instagram and website and signage and inside the building and outside the building and all of that.
And you've done a really good job of that. Now, I mean, even like, okay, so you're saying inside and outside the building, but give a couple of examples of like what that means. Like inside the building, what does that mean?
I mean, just in like this, we've had some old signage that we've been taking down. That's so just kind of making it look like everything else. So like if you go and you see something on Facebook, then you come in and you can be like, okay, this is the same place and this is the same look and feel.
I've thought about you a lot this week and last because it's more of, I'm going to Disney a couple times this year. Like I'm doing a Disney cruise. I'm doing Disney World in June. And Libby and I were at Universal on Sunday before my surgery. And I was thinking about you because like what you're doing this, whether naturally you know it or not, you're trying to create an environment, just like you talked about with the website and social media. You're trying to create an environment where when you go from the parking lot inside, it's almost like an immersive experience of all of those things being super cohesive together, which is what you get when you go to, Super Mario World at,
it gives you a feeling
at Hollywood, Universal Hollywood. It gives you this feeling like you're immersed in the situation. I think you're doing a really good job of that. And we will still have ways to go and things to add and all that kind of stuff. But it's like when we go from the outside to the inside, I think you're trying to create this immersive like brand experience for everybody that then goes that hopefully matches the worship experience. Because disagree with me, but I think those are things and small barriers that we can remove that can help people say yes to following Jesus a little bit more. So if that immersive experience is something that doesn't stick out or stand out, in terms of like, why do they have this random thing over here? Then it's like, okay, maybe they're in a place or a posture that they can really hear the word, worship, and feel the presence of the Lord in our worship experience. And that's why it's important, right? I mean, like I know it is because I've heard you articulate that in ways that maybe you weren't even thinking, but that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create an environment where people walk onto this campus and to get the same feel at Central Park, to get the same feel at Indonesia, to get the same feel at Espanol, and feel this warm Riverside family experience to where they can hear and experience the power of Christ, right? Yeah. Am I just putting those words in your mouth, or is that
that's
you?
true. And I mean, hopefully it does. It immerses you into an environment that then draws you closer to Jesus and points you to Jesus. Like, I think it's kind of similar to like, why would we do production with lights and sound and that kind of thing? I have, I don't know, I've had some really cool discussions with some friends. Like, when you walked into a church in, I don't know, ancient Rome or something, like cathedrals or that kind of thing, I don't know where, you are like in awe of God in the way the building is built, in the stained glass and that kind of stuff. And so like in the same way,
that's
is
good.
This our version
that's
of
really good.
that? Like you walk in and it's like, this is just kind of a piece of heaven. And what?
Yeah,
it's good, man.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and when you're in awe of those cathedrals, it's the same thing. And
attention to detail, all that stuff.
Which is really funny. Now that you're saying this out loud, it's like some people would talk about, well, lights and smoke and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, you can't do that. And it's like, yeah, but like, what about the awe of the cathedrals when you walk in and you're overwhelmed? It's the same thing. It's just different. It's generationally different. Right. But yeah, that's really good. But it's
the same thing to point you to Christ.
Yeah, that's the idea,
Just use our skills and our talents and our,
it's good, man.
Whatever they may be to do that well.
Okay. Last question. What was the most just brain beating up element of all of this? Like you're just like, if I not like this process, but like in general, what is like the one thing in a process like this that is just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy?
I don't know. There are sometimes when like I have a picture in my head and I cannot figure out, like that was kind of what happened with the original logo. And then and so there've been a couple times where I'm just like, it's Getmo.
Yeah.
But good enough to move on. But I know it can be better, and I just don't know. I don't know. So
Nathaniel
there's a couple times where
Nathaniel hates my phrase. It's like there's an element of, because I'm the same way. I can be a sermon is the same way. I could never finish it until it's perfectly, everything is crafted right. Yeah. It's never. I don't think a sermon is fully finished until it's preached, 100%. To be honest with you. But and not even like from a writing standpoint, but from a just like it's got to be, because a sermon has to be preached to the people. A brand has to be seen by the people. So there's an element of that. But I always say Gitmo, good enough to move on. Like at some point there are elements of like design work and stuff like that, or like a graphic for an event or some of those things. It's like, hey, these are good enough to move on. Can it be better? 100%. We can always improve in these things, just like a sermon. But at some point, Sunday's coming. It's got to be good enough to move on with it. And so then my just for the audience, I'm an idiot, and I'm always like, well, the main thing is it just can't suck. And so Nathaniel loves that one. I'm like, I don't care here. It just can't suck. And so, all right, last words for you, Adam. You don't like brand stuff.
Oh, I love it. The fonts look great. Fonts look great.
You want to talk about the biggest nerd on the face of the earth with fonts?
Me and Tim Corbin could geek out on fonts
shout
for
out
40
Tim
minutes.
Corbin.
Shout out to Corbin.
Sans serif.
No, dude, you've done a great job, man. I think you've exemplified rejecting good for great in this, which is one of our axioms as a church family.
That's good.
And I know it's been a lot, and it probably. It's like going from one season to another, probably, of like, oh, well, I'm just stepping in. I don't know if it will ever not be a lot sometimes in life, but dude, you've done a great job, and you've collaborated well with everybody, and I think our people are going to love it. I want to see, and now that even the point of this too, like with the shirts, with the things that our people can go and do, put the bumper stickers on the cars, just don't cut anybody off in traffic.
Yeah. In the name of Jesus.
But now it's like, man, I want our people to, I think you'll see the other side of this, where our people will start to rep it and wear it and promote it out. And that's going to come back. Like that stuff that you probably don't even see yet, as they go and hopefully have bold conversations, as they go to their rivers, as they have something that they can point to. There is a lot of people that love our church and want to invite people in, and this is just a way that they're going to be able to do that.
And I'll say this to even wrap that up and wrap all this up. Something that I feel good about, and even I did this weekend, was encouraging them. Hey, let this be your like spark, your catalyst to go out and reach your one, to go, hey man, I go to a church that really cares about being a strong tower for the city in the Lord, obviously. And then being a river to help this city reach the one, because we're for Denver, we're for the church, we're for the one. And I think they can do that and be represented there really well. And so my encouragement to them is, like when you send out an invite, it's done with excellence. When you hand them an invite, it's done with excellence. When they come in, it's done with excellence. When they go to our social media, it's done with excellence. When they come to our website, it's done with excellence in a way. And you've really done a great job of that.
Just to honor you, we had a couple mission teams in last week to help us. And we put some Easter invite cards out and had some newer things, and one of the people came up. He was like, dude, whoever your marketing guy is, comms guy is, like, these are all fire. And I was like, I meant to tell you that a couple of days ago. He was like, who does this for you guys? I was like, we got a guy.
Yeah, we got a guy.
He's the man. So good job on that.
So shout him out.
Come on,
wear
man.
the swag.
Let's go.
Put it out there.
Yeah,
and Nathaniel, thanks for all the work that you put in. You really did a great job with it. So
thank you,
let me pray. We'll close it out. Father, we love you. Thank you that we can use gifts like arts and to advance your kingdom. And it does. Lord, let us never push that aside. Lord, let us not think it's just some idiot like myself standing on stage and reading your word and explaining and expositing your word, Lord. But there's so many other elements that go into people giving their life to you that, Lord, snag them or hook them in at first, Lord. And thank you for people like Nathaniel that do things with excellence, Lord, and put time and effort and energy into creating and crafting a mark that represents who we are and what God has done, is doing, and will be doing through our church family. And so, Lord, thank you for this time. Thank you for the opportunity. We love you. We praise you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, follow him, shout him out, thank him, do all the things.
He'll be back on. Recurring guest.
Yeah, recurring guest.
Recurring friend of the pond. Let's go. On the one that you work hard to make us not look like idiots on.
Yeah.
So.
And that's hard to do. That's a really tough
hard
job.
to do.
So, thanks, Nathaniel. Appreciate it. See you soon, church.